means of disposing of them.
Well, that's why they give them, you can buy the containers, the Sharps containers.
Right.
And you pay a fee for that, and you pay a fee to send it to whatever facility then accepts them. But the pharmacies are called Stop and Shop, and they do not accept the needles back or the Sharps containers back. And the fire department doesn't either.
It's a major issue.
But,
It really is.
well, it is, except that,
Well,
You-
the only thing I'm saying is that they've been finding needles and stuff floating up on the shores and stuff. It may not all be addicts. It may very well be that people have no other means of disposing of them
well,
and throwing them in.
except that we do have, if people paid the recycling fee, some of which then goes to, in fact, paying for the cost of the needle program, then they could participate. For whatever reason, they declined for several years to do so. A sort of way out, I would say, is not to rescind any of the fees.
Okay, so,
But
yes,
But to say to them, you can bring your current supply of used needles to the recycling center. You can do that until the date when the recycling bill is due, because we'll send new ones out next month, and they'll be due sometime in September. At that point, you need to be, not necessarily in good standing with all the other ones,
But at least for that.
for this coming year, you need to pay the recycling bill if you want to be able to bring your stuff down. If you don't, you're gonna have to choose a CVS option, which will cost you money also.
yeah, I vote for that option.
Well, I mean, the recycling fee at least lasts for a year, and you're not worried about it for a year. With a CVS, you gotta worry about it each time you run out of them.
But you're still gonna need some sort of container to bring down, even if it's, a jug of bleach
Yes.
container,
Yeah,
so that you formally bring it down.
Yes.
I think that option makes the most sense. We help them take care of the immediate problem. And, this apparently just started. So the previous year's bills, I don't think, are eligible to be abated.
Well, the board could, because the board already had voted not to allow further abatements from
And the
past
problem
years.
is, as badly as I feel about this family and this child, like, it gets into a very gray area, and so when the house is sold, they can pay the
They
fees.
can
Right,
be.
so we give them a solution.
Yeah.
They need to figure it out longer term, because one way or the other, somebody's gonna be paying for this service.
And we also want to make sure that the sharps are disposed of
Right.
properly
Right.
too. So that's the other part of that.
So if the board could so make a
I'll
motion
make a
to...
motion that we do exactly what Charlie suggested, which is we authorize the recycling center to accept the needles on behalf of this family.
Until the next pay
Until,
period.
yes, until the next recycling fee is due for fiscal 2018.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
All right, do you want me to do this one, Charlie?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I make a motion that per Article 1 of the Halifax Special Town Meeting of March 7th, 2017, authorizing the necessary appropriation for the repair and renovations of the Halifax Elementary School, including funding from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, the Halifax Board of Selectmen authorizes the town of Halifax
No, I think there's some more
to
things
enter
say.
and be bound by the project funding agreement, MSA project number 2016011800005, between the town and the Massachusetts School Building Authority, and authorizing the signatory Thomas Millius, chairman of the Halifax Board of Selectmen, to execute the document on behalf of the town.
Signed. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tom already signed it. He
Yes.
already gave it.
No, I know, but I almost wrote approved 3-1. Thank you. Oh, I'll keep that for my folder, so you already signed it.
School, so we did that, electricity aggregation. This project's moving along just to, sorry. You know what this is, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So they're gonna send out the mailing at the end of this week. Townspeople have 30 days to opt out. If they haven't opted out, they stay in. I was quoted in the press release, and I just didn't like the quote, so I asked them to drop my quote. That was changing the press release. The contradictory information, the mailing, the FAQ is not so much that it's contradictory, it's if someone's already chosen a supplier, they shouldn't get the mailing.
Right.
However, if they do get the mailing and they've chosen, they should still send in the opt-out card just to ensure that they don't end up in the program.
But they need to know that. right?
Yes, and it says so in the mailing itself that if you have a competitive supplier already, send the opt-out card.
Okay, as long as it's clear.
Right. But it's confusing because, of course, they shouldn't have gotten the notice anyway. But there's always churn. People go in a program, people get out of a program, whatever, so that the National Grid's records aren't necessarily as up to date as they needed to be the day that they send the mailing out. So some people who have a competitive supplier may get the form. They should send the opt-out. Then what's happening is that the current rate is a little bit less. The rate that people would pay to participate in the program in September and October is a little bit less than the rate the National Grid is charging right now. Then the rates change on November 1st for this particular program. At some point in September, probably somewhere between the 15th and 20th, National Grid will announce its winter rate, which is higher than its summer rate. So as unlikely as it sounds, the reason for that is that natural gas prices go up in the winter because natural gas is being used for heating along with electricity. So there's a greater demand for natural gas, which means the electric power generators need to pay more to run their facilities, which means
For providers.
right, I mean, the rate goes up. So National Grid's rate will go up also, but we don't know what it will be until the middle of September.
When will this information be sent out?
Friday,
This Friday?
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, Tom.
No, that's okay. Not to muddy
Yeah.
this up, but I think you may have misquoted. The rate, if you were to change
Yeah.
now, would be 10, it
will
would
be-
actually be higher.
It will be on November 1st, that will be the new rate if you're in the program.
Right.
The thing is, it's higher than the current National Grid rate, but almost certainly will be lower once they announce the price.
Yes.
The problem is a timing issue in
Right.
that people are going to have to choose to opt in or opt out by the end of next month. We won't know the National Grid winter rate until the middle of September.
Right.
However, people have every right, pick a day, to opt in or opt
Opt out.
out. So if on September 15th, National Grid announces a price and it's higher than that, and people who have opted out, they can opt
Back in.
back
Yeah,
in.
we will have further discussions on this, just to keep people updated as September
Yeah.
comes around.
Right.
Make sure.
And we're going to have a public presentation, and we'll have it on cable and such on August 7th.
Interestingly enough, I just happened to have looked at a bill recently. The commercial rate is at
Lower.
Yeah,
Yes.
which you would typically think is not the
Yeah.
case. I don't know what that's
And the
all.
industrial rate, yeah, they're right.
Yeah,
And the industrial rate's even lower than the
That-
commercial rate.
yeah. You
So-
would, yeah, anyway.
On green electricity options, there won't be any. We just ended up choosing the basic no
Right.
green option or minimal green option.
Because that would have kept the rate higher, right?
Well,
Theoretically.
I was a little confused, I guess. I assumed that we were going to be able to provide a selection to people. You know, the 1% green, 30% green, whatever. And we're only offering the 1% green. So next time we do this, we could provide other
Yes,
options.
yes.
But, well, there'll be a lot of publicity about this. Have it up on the town website. I'll be running a series of FAQs on the website, but also on Facebook, since now Halifax Locals has about 5,000 subscribers to it. Not that all of them necessarily pay attention to it, but probably covers a fair amount. And try and get, we'll get the information out early and often, as well as we can. I think the primary thing is simply, when you get the mailing, you'll see it either this weekend or very early next week. If you don't want to participate in the program, just send the card back, saying you've checked it off, you sign your name, send it in.
You're out.
There's a mailer in there, posted, already paid, just send it in, and you're out. A few other things, last drink data, the OUI data for January through March 2017 was all clear for Halifax, no problems. I did see an announcement in the MMA Beacon that the Mass Selectmen's Association annual fall conference will be on Saturday, October 14th in Boylston, so you can put that date on the calendar. I just wanted to send a letter to the sheriff's office to thank them for coming in and doing that litter, so I'll get
Yes.
that out.
Do you want a motion, or
Sure,
So
please.
moved.
Yeah.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
And then, in connection with the Board of Assessors, also, we had a resignation by Holly Mary. She resigned effective June 29th. And if at some point in the future the assessors want to get the vacancy filled, they'll come back to the Board of Selectmen, prior to the election and such. They'll come back to the board, we'll have one of those joint meetings and elect someone to fill the vacancy.
Great.
Or the assessors might say, hey, we can operate with 2 people for the next 8 months, 9 months, whatever, and we'll just do that. And that's what I've got for tonight.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yes, thank you. All right,
Pam,
next
you have
up.
anything?
No,
We have a,
no road cuts. No, we're very excited.
I'm going back in for a couple minutes, I want to finish.
Okay.
Because you have interviews at this
Okay,
point.
yes.
Have either
We have a couple minutes to 7:30.
On the soil removal down Lincoln Street, have we heard any negative or positive complaints or anything about it?
I haven't heard anything.
The only thing I had gotten was whether, someone had asked whether we're gonna get temporary speed limit signs up. I did contact both Steve Hayward and Ted Broderick about that. I don't know if they ever were put up or if they've been, I can follow up with the 2 of them, but that's been it.
My son just,
Okay, thank you.
Dad just picked me up. We're on our way to South Shore. Please don't worry, I'm okay.
My nose is still there.
No.
Tell him you shouldn't mess around with strong women.
I know. Jeez.
So is your first appointment at 7:30?
Yes.
7:30.
Oh, I could have slowed my talking down.
No, yeah. Oh.
Just on the school roof project, obviously, that's moving along very, very quickly. They were working over it sort of in the central portion just to the right of the gym. Last week, they've moved over to the side where the library
Side of the
is.
library right now.
So, I did see a couple notes up on Facebook, which I'm going to follow up. There's a building committee meeting or review session update tomorrow morning, which I'll follow up. I mean, I think I know the answers, but I'd like to make sure I have the answers and go from there.
I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
Me too. Did we post it?
Yes,
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
Oh, did you post it?
yes.
Yeah.
Posted, simply it's as a quorum of the board being present. It's not a meeting of the board,
Right.
but they'll be there.
Okay, we have no idea. I didn't-
No, I knew that I thought it was a high probability that,
Well, from my home, it looks like they're having steady progress.
I would say so.
And they have been starting about, I hear the noise about 6,
6:30.
maybe a little before,
You
yeah.
told them they could start earlier.
Oh, I
right?
did, yeah, I told them 6, because I'm up at 5.
Well, it may be that they start at 6 as in we get here at 6 and have
Yeah, they
to,
start organizing.
Oh
materials
my
out.
God.
You got the picture?
Yeah.
What happened? How did this happen?
His nose is all this.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
She's laughing at her kid.
No, I'm not, oh.
He looks like a
I have to
pugster.
think of something funny.
HIPAA regs, you
think of
can't
something
present
funny.
this information.
I'm gonna joke and say, there goes the auction I had for you.
Well, you never know. Some people like that sort of thing.
Kim, how did you do it?
He's
Charlie,
at football,
do you have any kind of an
flag
update on
football.
Post
So
Tower?
it's not supposed to be contact.
We
Yeah,
have,
but the
let's see,
flag got in the way.
deadline for submission for OPMs is tomorrow, and in fact, I'm meeting with the building committee at 4 o'clock, not so much to review the submissions, though those are supposed to be in at 3. At least we'll have a list of the firms, but just to talk about the OPM role. So that's where that stands.
As long as something's moving along.
Yes, it is moving along, because the order has to be, we hire the OPM, then we go back out and hire the architect, even though we've had one, and then one of these days we get construction documents and go out to bid, I suspect for the spring of 18. Busy building season if everything works out between the school and the Pope's Tavern.
You know, they have a pretty organized work site. Don't you
Yeah,
think?
you know, absolutely,
I
yeah.
was very impressed about how orderly everything is. And,
The whole operation's neat and very structured. They,
yeah, and my dog is
I
keeping
even
an
saw
eye
our
on
little
them.
buddy over there supervising.
My dog, she knows when they show up. Yeah, she's keeping an eye on the whole project. Okay, shall we start? Like, oh yeah, it's over.
could you hand them down to Pam?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a hearing, so.
No.
we wanted to-
Well, it is 7:30, so we'll start with our first appointment if he's here.
Mr. Norvis?
No, I
No.
don't see him either, so.
Oh, I think I just saw him.
I just saw him in the hallway.
Oh, yeah, somebody's out there.
I mean, I've.
Maybe in the men's room.
Yeah, I saw somebody.
Let's see right up there.
Mr. Norvis.
Hi, you're Mr. Norvish?
I am.
Ah,
Nice to meet
then
you.
you're the guy we're looking for. Tom Millius,
I
hi.
think so.
You're actually gonna sit right there.
I'm gonna sit.
You're gonna sit
Yeah,
sort of
yeah, grab a
across,
chair if
like
it-
maybe over there. Great, thank you.
Oh, that's okay. I don't want
Thank
anyone to
you.
hear me anyway.
We get the ricochet off the ceiling anyway when it comes down.
Anything I say is dangerous, so.
I was like, I
better
thought
than
you wanted to
Mike's
be the sailor of weights and measures and not the town administrator.
off. Well, listen, I don't know, how much? We could save a few bucks.
How are you?
Very well.
So, Mr. Norvish, can you tell us a little about your experience as a sealer, or?
We don't have that much time to meet.
Well, as I said a little bit.
Middleborough has, when I was looking at the Halifax records, I would say Middleborough is a little larger town as far as commercial.
Yeah,
And I know, I'm aware that Halifax has roughly 3 gas stations, whereas Middleborough has 17.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
Wow.
Well, Middleborough's the second largest
Yeah,
area mass in the
it's
state.
down
so-
28 alone, you got it.
So, and then as far as scales go and things of that nature, to about 150 scales, I think here, Walmart, you have Walmart, you have like Nestle
Stop and
Farms, you
Shop.
have like,
Stop
I
and
looked
shop.
at the Nicetown report. So the town report gave me a good idea of what's involved. I think it's like 50 scales here. But then at Middleborough, I think the difference in Middleborough is I have to do oil trucks. I'm not sure about Halifax.
I think the state does that here, right? Doesn't the state that issues
Well, the
those?
state can do a lot of things,
But the meters you're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Vehicle scales, for example, Millville has about 7 vehicle scales, so that's involved. But I think according to the records,
We don't have any
We don't
yet.
No.
have any. Yet,
No, we don't have any.
And of course, scanning, the law is every 2 years to do scanning tests. But the town, if it chooses to do so, can do it annually. And I thank God the price of gasoline and diesel is
Reasonable.
what it is. Because when it was up $4.50 a gallon, the complaints were coming in.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of them. And sometimes it wasn't volume, sometimes it had to do with credit card holds, postings, things of that nature.
Haven't even thought about that, but yeah, now that you mention it.
So you've been the sailor of weights and measures since 1986?
Do you
Yeah.
have to say that?
Like-
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's 96. And then I noticed that you mentioned in your letter that you don't possess the actual equipment. Can you tell me around how much that is to purchase the equipment?
I was looking, well, I have a question about that. I was looking at equipment a little bit to get an idea if I could give you some information, regardless if I could get the position or not. But the prices of equipment has gone up. I would say back, you want me to tell the story?
Sure.
Little story. At the end of the 90s, Weights and Measures, the Department of Weights and Measures, Division of Standards, decided to upgrade things, meaning equipment, certification, written tests, field tests, and all that kind of thing. So I remember bringing all my equipment up for the town of Middleborough to the lab to have them test everything. I drove a ton of weights up there. And when I got out of my truck, the inspector said, okay, we're all done. I said, excuse me? It's not up to code. So I ended up having to get into the town of Middleborough, all the new equipment. And at that time, that was back in, I can tell you, 2005,
Mhm.
I think it cost $4,000.
Oh, wow.
Because I looked up the gas proofers. You're supposed to have 2 gas proofers when you check the meters. You do a fast test and a load test. So OSHA wants you to do both tests with 2 tanks, 2 provers, and a little cart. And so each one of those provers, I looked at one of them, it's like $900 for one gas prover.
Wow.
And of course, the weight set, the little weight set, that you like Walmart, it's like $500. You know? But I'm kind of curious, because when I looked at the laws and things, each town is supposed to have its own equipment, and a long time ago, the state did give equipment. Each town was supposed to receive it. So you had Herb Wolfer do it
yes.
for about, I don't know, 5 years.
No, he was our weights and measures since 1986. I mean,
What?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, since at least 1993-ish.
Yeah, yeah, early 90s, yeah.
Yes,
I
yes,
met him, I meet all the fellows that.
Yeah, he's been here.
things.
since 93-ish.
But prior to him, there was a seal of weights and measures, so there must have been somewhere along that there had to be equipment.
Before my time, in terms
You know?
to know.
And if I was
I'm
sitting
looking
in
at
your,
you,
if I was sitting in your chair, I'd be thinking like, okay, where is the equipment? Like, I don't think the board of Middleborough would know, you know? I mean, I have the equipment as well, you know, but.
Well, my suspicion is that if we in fact received equipment, whoever we had on as the sealer at the time probably was using it and probably still has it. Not with any nefarious intent,
No.
but just,
We could reach out to Mr. Wolfer and see if he, I mean, he was
He
our.
dots the i's and crosses the t's, very
Yes.
nice fellow.
Yes.
Working fellow.
Yep, for sure. I have no further questions.
I know so little about the job that it's hard to ask questions, so if anybody has anything.
No, I don't have any more
I
questions.
guess my question, of course, would be is, how do you pronounce your last name, Norvis?
That's correct, he did a very good job. People watch that.
Growing up in Chicago, Lithuanian, Polish.
Oh, he was waiting, yeah. Okay. 5 stars. Wow.
Why are you interested in the job in the first place? It seems like, just looking at your resume here, it seems like you're pretty busy as is. I mean, why you
Very
to have the
busy.
time? Yeah.
Actually, I am busy, but if you look at the resume, I work part-time here and I work part-time there. The good thing about the jobs that I have, they're part-time. The bad thing is they're part-time. If you don't have a seal of weights and measures like Bridgewater, or Middleborough, or Pembroke, there's no one 24/7 like Brockton and Boston.
Yeah.
So I fit it all in very nicely. And it's funny, the reason I started is I got a call from one board member all those years back. They knew my family, they knew my background, and they said, I think you'd be a good candidate for weights and measures. That's how it started. And all these years later. And then I received a letter from somebody from the Selectmen. It was sent to the town hall in Middleborough. So I looked at it and said, but I felt very bad, though. I felt very bad because I heard Wolfer's, you know, he gave up his job. I know when I last talked to him, he was having some physical problems.
Yeah, he was
And it all happens to all of us.
Mhm. Just an amazing job.
So, and you know what, this whole idea of staying home, and I like gardening, I like feeding my animals, I like doing all that. But, you know, I'm just one of those people, I like getting out of the house and doing something
Mhm.
beyond.
You have to have some
It might
purpose.
sound crazy, but that's, the whole idea of retirement, everybody can't wait to retire. He
Never crossed my mind.
I'm busier now in retirement than I was when I was working for full
It's
time.
different.
Yeah.
You don't have to get up at 5
Right,
o'clock. in
you
the
do what you
morning.
want to do. You get to pick and choose a little.
So you get up at 5 because you don't need
He
to?
looks
Right,
like.
4 now.
Yeah.
He looks like one from my area. He's a 50s or 60s baby.
I sort of heard that, but I don't think
You
it's
can hear that. It's a compliment. Because we're all
old
like that.
school. Old school attitude. Do the right thing.
I never retired. I left a job, but I never retired.
have opportunities and careers that I've done, I have no regrets.
Well, thank you for
That's the
asking the
best thing you
question.
can ever say.
Pardon me?
That's the best statement anybody can say, is that they never have any regrets. Really very impressive. Thank you.
Well, unless there's any other questions, do you have any other questions of us that we can try to answer?
Yes, I have one question. Did Mr. Wolfer leave any records with the board?
I'd have to ask Charlie. I don't know.
Because the records will tell, like, I do know the community, it will tell you the gas stations, I think there are 3, right? It will tell, I assume there's 1 pharmacy in Halifax?
Yes.
No.
Oh, just 2,
Just
Walmart
2, yeah.
and Stop and Shop.
So the receipt book would tell you everything in
Yeah.
the, should be.
We'll have to
receipt
check with
book.
Charlie if they dropped.
Yeah.
He has never, ever dropped anything off except for his like town report, which is like right on schedule, and he would bring his bills upstairs, so we don't have anything in here.
We could perhaps
We
reach
could
out to
probably-
him.
He might
Treasurer,
have, like
yeah.
you said, like a
His
records book
records,
in
yeah.
himself, but he just never turned them in. I haven't seen him in a while.
And we can ask him about the equipment perhaps that he was using. Maybe it is town that funded
Yeah, right.
equipment. The seal, Mr.
He
Wolfer?
had his own because he was working for several towns back when I started. I think he's, when I started here in '96, he was working for 5 or 6 communities,
Mhm.
and he had his own set. And that didn't vary even when he was down to 1 or 2 towns.
Mhm. Okay.
But it's my understanding, just for your knowledge, it's my understanding that each town should have a record book. Each town should, because there are people, I'll give you an example. James Upowitz was the president of the Massachusetts Association. You know Jane? You know Jane Zuckerman? She's 5 stars. She's a wonderful role model. She's a sealer in Barnstable, but she also did other towns like Duxbury. I don't know if she still does Duxbury. So I shot her a statement about the laws and things, and she said that all towns should have their own record books. They should have a state report. I don't, but you're not Pam by any chance.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
I kind of recognize your voice, lady. Each town should have the state report. Everything in that report will tell me like what equipment was used, where it was used. Just those couple of items will do the trick. And I know Herb is very meticulous, so I don't understand why when he left, when he gave his resignation.
He mailed it in, right?
And he didn't have an
He
office
didn't come
here.
in here, yeah.
I don't have an office here.
No, but I'm sure I'm sure if we reached out to him, he
I'm
would be
sure he
happy to
does.
send us
I
the
would think,
records,
yeah.
but thank you.
But I just find it a little bit strange that he, knowing him a little bit as I do, that he would not, unless he's not doing well, so.
Well,
We can reach out.
We
And then we
won't talk
can,
about that.
Charlie, is it okay for us to inquire whether or not we could purchase the
sure, well, I
equipment?
mean, I'm sure they exist.
No. If they're about, back in 2005, they were $4,000. I'm saying that perhaps we could purchase Mr. Wolfer's.
No, that's
He
possible.
may have a sentimental value attached to him.
Oh, all right.
But I have something for the board, regardless of if I get a position or not, this is for you. When I started to talk to Charlie on the phone about the equipment, those are the laws about it. And I'm not going to go you there because you have plenty of things else to do. But those Chapter 98, those sections I'm giving you kind of zeroes in the things that you really need. I know that some communities down the Cape, some of the towns might group together, and they do that at fire department, too. They group together and share the expense. That's it.
You've been very helpful. Thank you so much.
So my wife does not think I'm doing
Well, we won't get into that.
all right.
Thank you for coming in.
Yes,
All
thank you.
right.
Thank you for applying. Thank you
Oh,
for
I do
coming.
have one other question.
Sure.
Not a problem, Mike. Have you been contracting someone to do some of the work here in the town?
We've had one of the other area sewer weights and measures just do it on an ad hoc basis.
Yeah. Because I know some of the scales, like at Sharpland Lake, I noticed that Mr. O'Rourke he did some of the scales already long. So you only hired that particular person on a...
On an ad hoc basis, on an as-needed basis.
Okay. And when, if I was going to hear from you, when would you be notifying me?
Next meeting.
I suspect it'll be at least a couple of weeks. The board probably would take this under consideration, and then the next board
No
meeting is
problem.
August the 8th.
Mhm. Thank you so much.
Great.
Very nice meeting you.
It's cut out, get it. So you, peace.
Very nice meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you very
You
much.
too, Pam.
Take it easy, thank you.
Good luck.
Whoop. Oh, gosh, please.
This is dangerous. Okay, and thank you very much.
We get far.
Careful.
He would, but he wouldn't get there fast.
Come on, how you doing?
I don't need to bring him with a broken nose. I'll drive him to social so we can check out my kid.
Night of the broken nose.
I know. I just,
All right, moving along, it's 7:45, and I guess that means Dave Moore. And I say that because I know Dave.
thank you for being so prompt.
I'd like to come in and hear what
Oh,
I'm against.
he was inquiring into what was going on at the meetings. He was scoping us out. I knew it was.
To be honest with you, I'm not saying this to wire you up, but I've been involved with town government for about 40 years. I started out in Bridgewater, actually started in Carver, but really did it in Bridgewater, and I started with a 3-member board of selectmen, with a chairman, and then we had an administrative secretary, then went to a town manager, weak town manager, strong town manager, 5-member board of
And
selectmen,
you've run it all over there.
and 7-member town council.
So,
It is so refreshing to come in, to see the 3 of you and to address the 3 of you. I would give anything to see a 3-member board of selectmen again.
We actually have fun doing this, so I
I know.
didn't want anyone to know that, but
Yeah, well, but it always seemed like that's the way it used to be.
they paid me so much money, I've stayed here for 20-some odd years.
Well, it's great to be here tonight.
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for being here.
starting off, I am under the impression, I think I saw in your resume that you do in fact have equipment,
Yes, I do.
weights, and the associated accoutrements.
Yes, I do. I don't have any written permission from all the towns to use everybody else's equipment, but all the equipment is labeled, which town owns what. When I bring it up to the state lab to have it tested, I bring it all up at one time, and they make records of it all at one time. And everybody gets a job. It saves the towns a lot of money, because as Mr. Novish was saying, I think for you folks to pick up all of the necessary test equipment, you're probably looking at $4,000. It's crazy.
Now you're gonna get me crying, stop.
Yeah. The test measures are 900, but a 5-gallon can
Yeah, yeah.
is
I
$1,000.
don't understand how do you charge so much. I got a scale in my bathroom and it don't cost that much. Come on.
It's crazy.
Plus the calibrations, everything.
That's free. Calibration's free by the state. They do it every 4 or 5 years when you bring them up. So I've got the equipment, I've got the time. I know Mr. Wolf very well. He worked under me for 20 years when I was building commissioner in Bridgewater. He's extremely thorough, does everything to the T. And he's probably got his records, but the last time I asked him for records, he had an Apple IIe computer.
An Apple IIe?
And it was all on his computer, and you get a printout from it, but gee, Herb, can I get some kind of a database from it? Well, here it is.
Yeah.
So I had to retype it all over again. But this is a sample of what I have from East Bridgewater, the inspections that I do. I also have a similar database of the equipment that I test, how many gas stations, how many pumps, scales, and so forth. And it makes it real easy to do the state report at the end of the year. So, I retired as building commissioner in 2010 in Bridgewater. I've been working part-time as building commissioner in different towns for the last 7 years, but as of February, the end of February, I've said enough is enough.
It's
I
that
love
way.
the job, I love the work, I had a great time doing it, but this is all I want to do right now. I got a lot of little things, family, toys, hobbies.
Yeah.
Problem with the building job is just keeping up with all the changes, and
Oh, yeah.
it's a full-time job just staying up to date.
We had a gentleman come in one day at one of our meetings and he gave a presentation, He says, okay, this is what I had when I came in for the job. And,
No, thank you.
I think he started about when I did in 1980. And it was one book.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even 8.5 by 11. And then he said, this is what we got today. And he brought in a two-wheel wagon, and he just started stacking them up on the floor. And he had about 5 feet of books. And it changes every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, then throw zoning in on top of that.
Zoning. It's written by well-intentioned people,
Yes, yes, it
but
is.
every town is different. So it's,
It's all that cutting and pasting that screws it up,
Yeah.
though.
so I'm somewhat familiar with Halifax. It was nice to hear Mr. Novish's accounting of the equipment that you have in town to look at. And I think it's something I can do. One thing that I've done in the other towns, the state stickers that you put on, or the town stickers that you put on the
Yes.
gas pumps. For years, they've had the state lab, not the state lab, but the state office in Boston number on it. And what happens is people call in and they have to wait, dealing with the state agency and everything. Some they get very frustrated and so forth. And then once they get it, and if it comes in on a Friday night or a Sunday or at night or something, they gotta go back and listen. It's a very time-consuming process before the people get to me. What I do is on my stickers, I put the town of Bridgewater, and I put my number as a serial weights and measures in Bridgewater.
So
When they
then
call that number, it forwards it directly to my cell phone. So I'm able to respond to the people at the latest within 24 hours, but usually the cell phone rings, I pick it up, and we deal with it on the spot. So it works out pretty nice.
I like that approach. I have my cell number on my card to answer any building questions. I think it's just easier to take a call than it is to find the time to make the call. That's a
Good.
good aspect. Any questions of us?
I don't have any questions. Oh,
Of us?
yes, Tom, I'd like to know why.
I just have the same question, why are you interested in taking on this
It's a small part-time job.
What would
It's
you
an
like
easy
to
one.
know?
It doesn't pay a heck of a lot, but something that I enjoy doing and getting out into different towns and seeing things and exploring things. And I enjoy the work.
That's good.
Another thing I have done is I do my scales on the town's fiscal year as opposed to the calendar year. Now, when I do a state report, I do the report on the calendar year. But what I found is towns like to see their revenue on the fiscal year. So that way, the revenue that I bring in doesn't go up and down. It stays fairly consistent from year to year, so it helps you with your budget.
It's good.
Good.
Anything that helps is always a plus. Thank you. Anything of us, Dave?
No?
Thank you so much for
Well,
coming
thank
in.
you.
It was nice meeting you. Thank you again for being so prompt, too.
Nice seeing you again. Take care. We have a few minutes till 8 o'clock. I don't know if we should jump out of
I would,
order.
it's out of
Might
here.
as well.
Yeah, right, so,
The Mond's here.
Mr. O'Rourke? Sure. Come on down.
and that,
I'll be brief, Madam Chair, committee members. Thank you for,
Our orientation here is a little bit different. The chair always gets to sit next to me.
oh, sorry about that.
You can call me Madam Chair, though,
There's
because
a chain,
So I-
there's a
Quite
chain
a
on
ring.
his leg. It's cool.
I always defer to Ms. Roy here.
wait a minute.
Waiting for that.
I will be brief. I was happy to, Dan called Hanson, and I got through with her. I was happy to help out. You just heard from 2 great qualified sealers. I thought you were still in a pickle, but they are well qualified, and I'm going to graciously withdraw my application.
Oh,
Okay.
okie dokie. Thank you.
They're,
Well, the dance hasn't even started yet.
Was it us?
no, not at all.
Was it our
Once you found out that Kim wasn't sure that,
That's all right, they'll revote it. I'll be chair. You can stay.
All right, and if you need any help down the road, any assistance, by all means, I'm happy to help out. I have Hanover and Hanson right now, I'm busy with that. I could take this on, but you'll be in good hands with either of those sailors.
I do want to say, Pam and I appreciate your help during
Yeah,
last
yes.
month,
thank you,
because this was not something we were expecting to have
Crunch
to
time.
do, and
Yeah.
to have you fill in was very welcome. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you, really.
No problem.
That was so
Thank
kind of you.
Take care. Nice
Say hi
see
to
you.
the family.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
see you later. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can call me man and vice chair.
Now,
Can we take a 5-minute break? Is that
Well,
okay?
we're good, yeah. We're going to recess.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check on the nose.
I gotta check on my
Wait, why
kid.
don't you recess for a few minutes and we will
When's
be
our-
back.
We have an 8 o'clock, is that?
We have an 8:15.
8:15.
8:15?
So,
We'll be
why you
back
say
before
recess?
8:15.
Or a few minutes before 8:15.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ted.
my phone.
All right, I think if anyone understood that, that's what we're gonna do.
Really loud.
With Mrs. or Ms. Jennifer Schout.
Do we have to swear everybody in, Pam?
Yeah, I think we do.
I think we do.
Just don't swear at them.
Everybody's standing.
Yeah, who's ever gonna talk?
And you're gonna... Okay.
Are you stretching or are you putting your hand?
She's holding the world up.
Hey, let me do my spiel.
Do your thing.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth during these proceedings with the selectmen?
Yes.
Okay, we get them all.
Pam even knows who all of you are, so he doesn't have to take any names
Yes,
down.
exactly.
Should we swear in the selectmen? That's the question. All right, we're here because we had a complaint.
Yes, Mr. Clausen is here. I don't know if you wanna ask Mr. Clausen to explain.
I think I'll do that.
Okay.
Mr. Clausen, would you like to come up and explain?
Yeah, do I need to come up there?
Yeah, you know, you could do, that'd be great, because I have to do
The-
this all word for word, and so if you can talk clearly, everybody.
You're
into the
and you're
mics,
closer
okay?
to the mics, yes.
So you have a mic right there, which is great. No, his mic is right there. So when you guys talk also. you guys just really talk.
here. I don't think anyone can hear me.
Okay,
It just
yes.
helps me out. Yeah, that's yours.
Oh, I didn't really want it that
That's
close.
yours, that's yours. Okay, there we go. We're good. And that one I think is out there, so I think
Yes.
we're good.
That's good, we should do this in the last 5 minutes, but
I
that's
usually
okay.
don't say anything, but I have.
So yeah, we're in the same predicament we were last year. The dogs are still barking and there's no end to it. Nothing's been done. So,
Can you be more specific on what days or what time of day?
any day, any time. They're still barking early in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock at night, and all throughout the day. You know, sporadically and continuously, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't matter the day of the week, month, or anything like that. Rain, snow, sun. It's, like I said, the same predicament as last year.
I know that last year the number of dogs were reduced from
Yeah.
50 down to 25. Do you see any improvement?
No,
None?
no. It's still barking dogs.
Have we been able to verify the amount of dogs? Has the dog officer been able to?
Yes, there's the correct amount of dogs that are there now.
Okay. So we've established it, that at least, okay.
1, 2, 3.
Did you witness any barking when you were on the property?
No,
I know that over the last couple of months, whether I had bumped into you or your father, or they had mentioned that there had been dog barking still, and I asked if they could send in a letter of complaint because, you know, until we got an official complaint, there really wasn't anything that we could do about it, and that I was not going to go down at all to verify the barking until we did get the official complaint, which we finally did get a couple weeks ago, I think we
Right,
did.
yeah.
And so before we met, when I went to the house, there was barking. It wasn't, in my opinion, as bad as it had been the year before, but there was definitely barking. And then I've asked Mr. Clausen to, you know, to tape. He has submitted some tapes to me on the morning barking, which is still kind of loud from the barn, like, so it doesn't really appear that there's been any kind of insulation. But again, I want to remind this board that when we closed the last petition hearing, we didn't feel comfortable ordering Ms. Choate to do that special soundproofing because nobody was really convinced it was going to work, including the sounding expert. that had come in, and so, you know, there were still the same rules from that petition, which is control the barking and certain times that they were in and out. So those are the things that needed to be adhered to. And certainly part of that was the verification of dogs and inspections at all times. So we can talk about that afterwards, but I just want to just remind everybody where we were. And so there is barking going on. In my opinion, it wasn't as significant, but I'm not living there. I was just there sporadically. So, yeah.
Well, there's no way to isolate it to any particular dog or dogs, right? I assume that that would not be a reasonable thing to try and do in terms of isolating any particular animals.
But council has indicated that the board could take action against the dogs en masse, in the sense of it, as he wrote, it doesn't matter whether it's Fang or Fido. If the board wanted to impose restrictions or requirements, the board could do so if it found that there was sufficient nuisance.
I don't know, Mr. Chair, if you wanted to ask Mr. Choate.
I was going to,
Or, yeah,
in terms of the disposition of...
Yeah, and I just want to mention that I did reach out to just the Bagleys to ask them if I texted Mrs. Bagley to say, hey, how's the dog barking? And she mentioned that early in the morning, sometimes she can hear it, you know, sort of like that whole barn when they're still in. But she said she has most of her windows closed this summer due to air conditioning, so she couldn't verify the daytime barking, but certainly she had been hearing early morning barking.
There was some discussion as to, obviously, the signage on your property, Mrs. Choate. Am I pronouncing that right?
Choate.
Choate. That the property's been on the market. It's no secret to anybody. Has there been anything develop in that area? Are you getting close to any kind of a...
The property is sold, and I am closing on August 10th.
August the 10th?
Correct.
Is it your intent at that point to have vacated the property, or are you...
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Dogs included.
That certainly would be a solution to the issue that's honestly ongoing. It's been ongoing for the 2 years I've been on the board. It just seems to be endless. That would be the best of all worlds, in my personal opinion. And the 10th is pretty close. I'd be hesitant now to take a serious action between now and the 10th of August to exacerbate the whole thing. But if it does not, in fact, come to pass on the 10th of August, then I personally would make a motion that we ask for the dogs to be vacated. We got to end this. But as long as it's on the market, it's sold, there's a closing date, if it's... it's easy for me to live with it because I don't live next door until August 10th, but that's close enough. Obviously, we'd still want to have some restraint with the dogs as best as possible, but is that something you could live with, Mr. Clausen?
Yeah, I think I can live with that as long as it actually happens.
No,
I know
I'm on board
I've
with that.
heard rumors. We actually had one guy stop by and say that he was moving in on, I think it was July 10th, he told me he was moving in. And we've heard that there's been offers and, people have almost gone to close, and so I just don't trust that, that I don't want to say, yeah, I'm fine with that, and then
No, if it happens,
the
you'd be okay with
10th
it.
comes and goes, and there's still dogs.
No, I understandable.
I mean, if we can, I don't know,
I mean, if
set
this-
something kind of like, okay, if it doesn't happen on the 10th, then the dogs need to be gone on the 10th, then I can live with it for another 10 or 15 days or whatever it is.
I think in a totally unreasonable series of events, I think that's a reasonable thing to do at this point, if everybody's in concurrence here. As long as the transaction takes place, then it's a moot point.
But are you saying that you agree with Mr. Clausen where we would make a motion that on August 11th, the license would expire?
No, you can't take action on the license.
Oh, okay,
You can take action on the dogs.
On the dogs.
on the dogs.
My
Okay,
question, my
so
question.
you're saying that on August 11th, there should be no dogs on the property regardless?
What I'm saying is if it doesn't happen on August 8th, then our next action would be to require the dogs to be removed from the property. I'm not setting the 11th, I'm saying that the next date we meet or what have you, then we would have to take some kind of enforcement action, and I would be inclined to make that motion myself.
Okay.
Is there any opportunity, Mrs. Jones, of any of the dogs being removed prior to that date? If it's definitively, you're saying definitively you're going to be closing.
Well, that is the closing date set, correct?
Okay, well, what I'm asking, and I really didn't want to get into whether you sold your property or not, because that's, to me, that's irrelevant.
Well,
We need to deal with the issue that is ongoing. And if in fact you feel that the animals will be gone, I mean, you're not planning on moving them on that day, or is it prior to that date?
I'm in the midst of working on that. I can't commit to some will be gone, all will be gone. Certainly that's my intention to,
From your perspective, have the dogs been barking excessively?
absolutely not. I disagree. Nor do I think it's a nuisance.
Okay.
Okay. Do you think it's appropriate that we start talking a little about the requirements of the last petition,
We
which
mentioned it, we
included?
mentioned it in the letter, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the inspection of the kennel. And I want to share with you that the whole intent of an inspection, not just your kennel, is all kennels in Halifax don't get a date in which we're inspection, because that's the whole point. Like,
Absolutely.
it's like saying, hey, make sure you clean your room before I get home. I mean, so it should be at random. And I know that Noreen, our animal control officer, because I've kind of kept in touch with her on this particular issue, had attempted on several occasions. And even when you gave specific dates, there were times, even within those windows of times that you said you would allow her to come on and inspect, she was refused. And
She's never been refused to come on my property.
I respectfully disagree
Either I
with
have
that.
not been home, or I was about to get in my truck trailer that was loaded full of things that needed to leave, but those are not on the dates that I said I would be available.
Okay.
That is not true.
Okay.
I have nothing to hide, I've never had anything to hide, and she's welcome anytime.
Well, I'm glad that you've said that on record, because we will continue to do spot inspections. And and if we are not allowed to do that, I believe our police chief has sent you a letter stating that we will
I've even reached out
go
to
to
the
court
police chief
in
so that
order.
he understood that I clearly was available, clearly wanted this to happen.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with that. That was a problem because during this whole process, you know, we could have been over there every week counting dogs and asking for records. And from my conversation with the animal control officer, part of the inspection includes the review of the puppies and your records, and you didn't even have those available. So therefore, in my opinion, it was an incomplete inspection.
That's never been asked of me, nor is it anywhere that I...
If you look at the letter, and I think the chief of police sent you a copy of the letter and the exact clause of what the requirements were of that particular hearing that occurred last summer and last fall. So we have every right to ask you for your records. It's a mass general law.
Correct.
Well, you did not have them last Thursday when the animal control officer visited your property to do the inspection.
I agree, but I've never been expected or been required in 6 years of having a kennel license to provide that information.
Yes, but again, as I pointed out to you earlier, there were special circumstances surrounding your kennel based on not really having accurate counts at times and being over the amount of allowed dogs. So, and there was a petition, and we don't need to go through the past. I really was hoping that we wouldn't be sitting here this summer even talking about it, to be honest.
I agree.
This is really
I
pretty
think it's
painful.
ludicrous. I'm here 15 more days.
And I really wish you
Mr.
well.
Clausen clearly knows where I'm at.
So,
He clearly is aware of the offers that have been made because some of it has been made by him.
okay. So I'm going to make a motion that on August 11th, that all dogs be removed from 7th Plymouth Street.
But you just agreed that you don't agree that it's a nuisance.
I didn't agree that it wasn't a nuisance. I said I heard barking, but it's also a combination of not adhering to the order that we asked you to adhere to last spring and fall.
So what exactly is the order that you're saying that I haven't complied with?
Allowing inspections at any time.
Ms. Roy, I am in the process of moving what used to be a 30-horse facility, which used to be a 50-horse facility, which is a 4-bedroom home with a very established business, to New Hampshire. I am not present on the property, and when I've been able to be there, I have been able to set up a schedule. Part of the problem was that she was on vacation, which I was unaware of, when I didn't get return phone calls.
Well, your mailbox was full.
Excuse me?
Your mailbox was full. That's why she couldn't leave you a message.
May I, because
That's my business.
Well,
I'm not going to sit here and listen to a tit for tat.
Let's
The
move on.
problem is that you haven't, whether purposely or not, you haven't abided by the order that we gave the last meeting. And that's a definite, because we got no records, there's been no visits, there's been no
So what
inspection.
was the order
and
at the
change.
last meeting that states that I was required to produce on the spot?
We limited your litters.
I understand that, it's always
Yes,
been limited.
and in order for
Absolutely.
us to verify that you are at the right number, then we need to look at your records.
Okay, which I haven't, I can provide to you, but I want.
Today you have them, but you didn't have them on Thursday during the inspection. And that's the whole point, Ms. Choate.
Okay.
That and
It's
the
like-
random nature of the inspections.
And the point is there is still barking going on. Whether the semantics of whether or not,
Bar.
yes, but we also agreed that you were gonna adhere to certain hours, and if the dogs are out late at night and they're not supposed to be, or early in the morning and they're not supposed to be, then you're not adhering to the things that you have promised this board and the zoning board on a number of occasions. And that's the problem, is that we have been here so many times,
Of course we
really.
have. Absolutely.
Yes, we've been here a long, long, long time, and I really do wish you well on your new home. I really do, and I hope everything goes as smoothly as possible on August 10th.
We have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So hopefully that everything gets consummated on the 10th, which happens to be my birthday, but that's irrelevant. That would be a nice little birthday present, just to have this done.
We were here on Troy's birthday last time.
See, well, we still got Kim's to go, but we're not going to make hers, because it's going to be done before then.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that's the last bit of business for this evening,
And that's all I got.
and in that case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, it can't be the last business. You just mentioned my birthday. I never got the gift, so I was just...
It's in the mail.
It's in the mail.
Ah.
Yeah, it's in the mail.
Ted?
Can you sit tight when this is over? I have to ask you something.
Which species was it?
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
It's like a
to
witness.
adjourn.
Can I get a... Ready on the left. Good evening, everybody. This is the second Tuesday of the month, June 14th. Is that right? 13th. And if you're watching this, you're watching the Halifax Board of Selectmen's meeting. As always, we are being recorded by Area 58 Community Television. Be available to you on Community Access TV and YouTube. We will start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know, I totally hit you with my chair. I'm so sorry.
I mean, with that type of introduction, I think we need to get a house band, maybe.
The house band?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need that.
I know, I was quite impressed by that.
I actually had a little more. I toned it down a little.
That was really,
We don't have a very big crowd, so I was trying to save it for the bigger audience.
I know, I was thinking. That's right, you used to host shows though, so you get some experience.
Couple here.
We're not worthy, Troy.
I'm not gonna even touch that. I've been called that a long time ago.
All right,
Would you like me to begin?
yes, I would like very much for you to begin.
Has everybody had an opportunity to peruse the executive session from May 23rd, 2017?
Yes.
Yes.
If so, I'll present that to be.
Second.
okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have one opposed.
I'm
Kidding. But that was unanimous.
Payroll warrant number one.
But we need to approve the agenda first. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, please, move on.
Payroll warrant number 105 for $351,699.05. Vendor warrant number 106 for $145,117.03. Withholding warrant 107 for $134,909.31. School warrant 108, $433,831.81. And vendor warrant 109 for $47,563.19. And ambulance commitment 5C for $40,000, that much? Wow.
Yeah.
$40,070, $70, no cents. Ambulance commitment 5D for $40,262.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approving the following warrants and commitments. Payroll warrant number 110 for $365,857.21. Vendor warrant 111, $69,883.14. Withholding warrant 112, $124,654.63. Ambulance commitment 6A for $26,656.
Correction,
And mobile park fee, I'm sorry?
it's 25 too.
Oh, my, our
25.
copy says 26.
Mine says
Oh.
26 here.
Mine says 25, interesting.
Okay, hold on, I'm sorry. It is 25, I'm sorry, it is 25.
Okey dokey.
That's what yours says it. and
I know.
I do the same things, I copy and paste, so that's really weird.
Yeah, very
I must
strange.
take the wrong key, you know, you side by side. So 25, it's 25,
So
656.
does that mean we get a raise that extra $1,000?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Mobile park fee, home park fee, $5,160.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I would like to present the approved payment of Selectmen bills dated June 13th, 2017. First is the recruitment and employment training, $29.75, and that's for express newspaper ad. Youth and Rec concession stand expenditures, $59.17 for National Grid and concession stand electricity. Department of Payable Bills, law account, $140, and that's to miscellaneous as well as KP Law PC professional service. Law account, Michael Gilman and Esquire, $605, no cents. Selectman expense account, $106.63, WB Mason. Law account, Attorney Lawrence Mayo, $1,392. Recruitment and employment training, $120. Bid Plymouth Occupational Health and Occupational Health Services. Law account, Douche, Williams and Brooks, Dorenis and Holland PC, $100. And that completes the vote.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that does that. Charlie, you want
Yes. So first, remember a couple weeks ago, I did mention that we had the new contract for the assessment of Richmond Park by Tata and Howard. This is basically sort of a review of the operations there. And I don't mean personnel, like mechanical operations, see what improvements need to be done, what equipment needs to be replaced, et cetera. And that was going to need to be reviewed by council, which has happened. We have the signatures from the water commissioners and Town Howard, and now it's the board's turn.
And it's the whole board.
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we execute the contract for the water assessment.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Copies of that. Zoning changed. I had been in contact with Attorney Quirk over at Copeland and Page about trying to come up with an alternative of the zoning that we originally talked about back in March that was allow in some fashion live entertainment events in the agricultural residential district. A number of the concerns was from residents and such was that the original proposal was too broad-based in the sense that we would allow too much. What Attorney Quirk said, well, okay, then here's some language that would heavily restrict, for instance, the number of days per year that any one property would be allowed to hold events, things like that. You could put other restrictions as to decibel levels and hours and everything else. So I provided the board with a copy of what she had sent over. What I'd like to do at this point is get it up to ZBA and planning to get some comments from them. Obviously, this isn't going into place or anything next week, but the idea is that as we get it through this summer, if the other two committees can look at this, provide some comments, maybe we fill in some of the blanks because she's saying, okay, what you need to specify the hours, the decibel level, what the other components that we might want to place limits on. We can work out a actual proposal to bring to a planning board hearing and then possibly a town meeting at some point in the future, whether we have a special in the fall or sometime later this year. And I didn't know if that met with the approval of the board to proceed in that fashion.
I looked over your document and I was totally happy with what you put together.
Yeah, I thought it looked good, and I think
I
that's
didn't have any issues with it.
a reasonable way to proceed.
Well, then I'll get it up to ZBA. Also, I'll get it to Rob, obviously, ZBA and to planning board and Rob. So we'll see how it plays out there. Let's see. Peter Smith, a student at Azavan Brothers High School, had suggested the town build a skating rink. Obviously, there are other communities in Massachusetts that have municipal as opposed to private skating rinks, so there are some. Not every community has one, of course. He didn't mention a specific preference about doing something that's a pure outdoor one or pavilion style that would have a roof but no sides on it, or an indoor rink like the one in Bridgewater, I believe, has. There's not, I don't have a lot of, I have a number of questions, obviously, which I'm not expecting him to answer. I didn't know whether the best idea at this point would be, if the board was interested, to send it to Youth and Rec. At the same time, I can get maybe some data from my colleagues about skating rinks in other communities, how much they cost to build, how much they cost to operate, things like that.
It's also the type too,
Yeah.
because you can put a tire cover on a circle and if it needs water, and you have a skating rink. It's a temporary thing, we want to put it indoors.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, I'm sure this board has the best of intentions, but at this point, we haven't even rebuilt our Pops Playground, and we're asking that to be done through volunteers and through fundraising. And so I couldn't support the town supplying funding for the erection of a ice skating rink when we're not even doing that for hops, or we're not in a position to do that for hops. So, I don't know if that's harsh sounding. I mean, I appreciate the idea, but...
Yeah, I can understand and I applaud his enthusiasm and his thought, but I think based on where we're at right at the present time,
I think we owe the young man at least the courtesy of looking to Youth and Rec and see if they want to research the process and doing something like that.
that costs us nothing. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that's not going to cost us anything, but
Costs us nothing, that didn't sound right.
Well, I don't
Shouldn't
want
cost us
Charlie to take
anything.
the time to do it, though, because
No, well,
honestly...
if I spend any time on this, it's going to be about 5 minutes sending an email blast out to my colleagues saying, hey, have you built a municipal skating rink anytime in the
At least give them some,
recent?
you know, even though we may not be able to do it, you know, who knows in the future, it might, things might be in a better state than they are right now.
Maybe somebody will
At least you'll have the
donate.
information available and go through.
Well, my guess is we're talking a lot more money than anything we're,
Oh, yeah.
hops. Especially in terms of, okay, having built it, then there are operating costs for hops, you know, there's gonna be maintenance.
Just the cost of the Zamboni.
Right.
The main issue is
I don't-
where are we gonna build
Oh,
it?
that's another one, yes. But again, so let me refer to Youth and Rec. I'm asking if the board would approve allowing me to carry over more vacation time.
No.
Well, then I'll see you next year. Thank you very much.
Please don't leave Charlie this way. I'll make a motion that Charlie carries over 100 hours of vacation.
It may not, my expectation won't be even near 100, but I just put that in as an arbitrary number. Obviously, with the number of.
Well, arbitrarily, you're not gonna take that many.
No, there are a number of dates that I need to stay here for.
Well, you've only got 15 days or
Yeah, I know.
16 days to take them all.
Well, what kept happening is that with the school building project, I kept losing days. Oh, you're gonna have this open house, or you're gonna have this bid
Right.
opening, or whatever. We're gonna have a meeting now on the 15th, for instance. Sorry, you're coming to work. So
Okay,
if the board would
I'll make a
okay
motion.
that. Okay.
Did you second?
Do we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Herb Wolfer, after decades of service for the town, has resigned as Sealer of Weights and Measures, effective actually June 1st. I thought it was going to be the end of this month, but I guess he has some health problems.
No, sorry to hear that.
District
He has
activities.
been immensely helpful over the years.
Until the town appoints a new sealer, and we've already done this once, we're going to reach out to our neighboring communities so that, if, for instance, Stop and Shop needs someone, one of their stickers is expiring, I can go and get somebody. It's a wage and personnel position. I need to officially post it and just go through that. It's a minimal stipend. I think Mr. Wolfer gets paid somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 a year. But my intent is to, as much as I'm going to be advertising it, is to get this out to the sealers of weights and measures in nearby communities. They might want to just take this on as an added thing. The other possibility is, and this I think started a few years ago, is the state now will, in essence, have one of their people come out, not be the, and do the work that's necessary. There's, so I mean,
Certified.
yeah, I mean, there's some sort of, I don't know if we do a contract with them. I mean, they collect the fees. You know, basically, it's all passed through. Any money that they collect for the fees goes to the state. And I have no problem, I can contact, at the same time I'm doing this, I can contact the state
At
and
least
see how
compare
that
to
works
see what,
out.
yeah.
The only, not headache, but the sealers need to have their own equipment, because when,
For the measurement.
Someplace to
Exactly.
store it.
well, Mr. Wolf, I assume always had his own equipment because he was working for a number of communities. So if somebody else comes in, they're gonna have to bring in their own set of tools per se. We don't have a set here that's the town's own. But I'll start working on that so we can get someone in place one way or the other.
I would suspect that those who do it have their own
Yeah.
tools, and they have to be calibrated every so often as well.
Is he in?
No, whatever you feel necessary to be done. But I just want to say it's 7:45.
Okay.
Hi, Gordon.
It's 7:45, we have an appointment, reappointments to the Finance Committee, Linda Braga and William McAvoy.
I'll make a motion that we
Hear
appoint.
ye, hear ye, how do you believe?
Finance Committee recommends appointing both terms.
3 terms.
So it's your vote, so it's between you two, so if somebody's,
I make a motion to Linda Braga and William McAvoy.
Do you want me to second that?
I think we need to.
I will second. All those in favor? Aye.
okay. Oh, that was cinchy.
That was tough, but we got it done.
We don't have any wage and personnel people because we don't have any wage and personnel people.
And I won't make that.
Well, he filled in both positions.
So So there's not.
There's nothing to do with the wage and personnel. He was going to have any regular members to reappoint. It's the liaisons who stay on.
Yes. But Tom plays two roles today. He's the chair and he's also the wage and personnel.
And a fun time is had by all.
Is that study?
They're
That
meeting,
wasn't at the last meeting. So.
they're either meeting with Don
Tomorrow night.
I
Yeah,
believe.
tomorrow.
So we're continuing the work.
Yeah, it's still going on. It's fluid in terms of how we're progressing.
It doesn't mean that they're drowning.
Oh, no. We're revising some things from the original proposal to fit us, to tailor a little bit more to Halifax. So.
I don't know if Charlie gave me an update on what Mr. McAvoy is proposing for the capital plan.
No.
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 No. So he created this spreadsheet that he presented at not last night's meeting, but previous meeting, and try to get all the capital items onto an electronic spreadsheet and have it online. So that will be a reference and go into the website next year on the warrant, so everyone can see what's upcoming for the next few years.
Right.
Try to keep track of the warrant items so people realize how long items are actually on.
Well, that's a really wonderful
It's a
idea.
good idea.
That's a good idea.
Awesome.
Anything else?
Spreadsheet for
I
Don.
don't think so.
Thank you so much for coming. It was nice seeing you.
Good to see you too. See you guys later.
Pretty better.
Good night.
Good
You
luck
take
with
care.
your
Feel better, okay,
personal
buddy?
problems there.
Yeah.
It's your, yeah, it's not mine.
Ciao.
Good night.
Ambulance abatement for April 2017, $19,861.37.
So moved.
Someone part of that too?
So much, probably Tom.
Somebody second?
Tom Fitzgerald may be watering the garden.
Doesn't look like it's fair.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, he was out there earlier.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Second.
All
Aye.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Massachusetts State Constables Association sent out a letter to the municipalities about a bill that would apparently eliminate a lot of the duties and responsibilities of constables in Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
Yes. That's the way I read it, because much of the language of the bill says, delete the word constable from this section, delete the word constable from that section.
Well, constable was out there, actually, the original, the Constitution was constable, it wasn't police, it wasn't police, it wasn't anything else, constable was the character. If they're gonna eliminate, what kind of authority are they?
Well, I haven't gone through each section, because it references chapters and sections and say, take out the word constable, but it doesn't then say in what context.
Right, right.
Oh, why?
So you want to wait?
Well, what you might want to do is, we have our two elected constables, and get in touch with them and ask if they want the board to send anything back to
Well,
our
they sent a
legislators.
letter to us, right?
The association.
Associated, yeah. Yeah, because they can explain how it's gonna affect them, because I really don't know. I know some of the duties they have, but I don't know all.
So I'm going to do that. I will contact our constables and report back to the board at the next meeting. Just in terms of street sweeping, our sweeper needs a complete rebuild according to the highway surveyor. That's why it hasn't been out there doing the work. He is trying to get prices for hiring a company to come in and sweep the streets. So he's aware of the complaints about the state of the roads, and he's trying to do something about it.
Before we go any further, can I get to the point where I'm not allow anybody to sit in my seat? Because it's something.
Right, Goldilocks.
Well, there were people sitting in that seat today.
Yeah.
I know, I had to adjust mine too.
Mine was just fine. Just saying.
All right.
Regional recycling coordinator, the host agreement, we've been hosting
Yeah.
the regional recycling coordinator for Southeastern Massachusetts for a number of years. This is a new contract between the state and ourselves to continue doing that. We've had no problems. Everything's going fine with that. We got our payments. get money from rent in essence, so it's a win-win.
Does Tom sign it?
In this case, yes. because
I
it's
will
one
make a
signature.
motion that the chair sign the contract for the regional recycling coordinator post agreement.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
On the school roof project, we had sub-bids that were open last Wednesday. We only received one sub-bid for the HVAC, and we received no sub-bids for the wiring work. That doesn't mean we won't get it done, it will just be done by the GC.
Yeah.
The GC bids are now due at 4 PM tomorrow. They were originally going to be due, I believe, at either 11 or 2. And because there was one last addendum sent out Monday at about 3, and the addendum has to be sent out at least 48 hours in advance of the bid opening. The bid open, or the deadline was moved to 4 o'clock to accommodate the 48-hour window. So we'll be here, we'll see how it plays out.
And we're still meeting on Thursday morning at
Yes.
10.
Yes. Reappointments, the board has an updated list from Pam of everybody who's up for reappointment. She has, do their copies have the red also, Pam?
Yeah, that's the red is what people still haven't confirmed, okay? And then I'm still working on getting their ethics, their sign papers, but we still have weeks for that. I'm
So-
next week.
Right, but what Pam and I would like to do is make sure that the folks who are not up to date on their ethics are notified in the next couple of days that either they have to sign off that they received a summary, or they have to go through the online training, or both, in order to be reappointed. So that's our intent, is to notify them. And then if we get to the 27th and they haven't done one or the other, then we won't do the reappointment for that time. I mean, this happened last year, and I think we ended up making appointments a couple of months later when people finally got their act together and got the ethics work done. 65 Colby Drive with the unregistered vehicles, I've already sent the residents there a letter indicating that they might be in violation of the town's bylaw on unregistered vehicles. I'll take another look in time for the board's meeting in a couple of weeks. Ambulance purchase, I'm working with the fire chief and the town council on a contract for the new purchase of a new ambulance that was authorized by town meeting last month. The plan is to trade in one of the old ambulances. It's over 100,000 miles and it has some mechanical issues. The value is going to be about $5,000 for the trade-in. I wanted the board to be aware of that because there are some times when we will sell the surplus, sometimes we trade things in, and I didn't want the board to be unaware of the fire chief's intent to trade in the vehicle as part of this.
I'm personally a big fan of trading them in, rather than having them laying around, actually depreciating in value, so I'm good with that.
I agree with it.
Surplus, other types of surplus, we've got the building inspector, Brother ML100 typewriter, HP DeskJet 010 printer, and a Samsung SyncMaster 710N monitor.
I'll move that they be deemed surplus.
Second.
All those in favor? All right.
I checked with town council about putting up signs on our properties that are going through the foreclosure process. He said that we were allowed to do that. He did obviously point out that we need to be careful if the property is occupied, and my intent is not to put signage up on the properties that are occupied. I don't think there are any in this case that are going through the foreclosure process. I think they're all vacant. So I'll put up, probably next couple of weeks, I'll get placards up that announce that in fact this property is going through the foreclosure process, and maybe put the collector's phone number on there if someone is specifically interested.
Yeah, makes sense.
Autumn Lane, after several months of nothing happening, Mr. Tranny again is starting to finish the work over on Autumn Lane in terms of landscaping. He also had paid an engineering bill for over $1,000 that he owed for several months. So progress is being made, however, slowly. So both Larry Mayo and I have been in touch with him during the last couple of weeks about this. We'll see how that plays out. There. Okay, more contracts. This is with the police chief. This is based on the appropriation at town meeting. There are 2 copies to sign. This is basically, it's the contract from last year, just with the update for the salary for this coming fiscal year. So if the board would approve it, and then,
I'll make a motion that we sign the chief of police contract.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
All right.
and then the same as for the fire chief, this is the first year of the 3-year contract with reopeners for the wages for fiscal 19 and 20. So we just have wages set for fiscal 18.
I'll make a motion that we sign the contract between the town of Halifax and the fire chief.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we have one for the union firefighters. This is the effect of the reopener for fiscal 18.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract for the firefighters.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Plymouth County budget, Troy will be attending as the board's representative to the advisory board. I believe it's this week on Thursday, Troy?
Yeah. 15.
I don't know if the board wanted to provide any direction, advice, whatever, to Troy about the various questions that are going to come up, particularly the commissioner salaries, and I guess maybe the salaries for several other individuals, or we'll leave it to Troy's discretion, as best judgment.
Well, I certainly have some concern about the salaries being, were they doubled? Is that what happened?
Actually, they're being put back to where they were, what, 5 years ago, what we originally voted on. So it's not as if they're, I suppose you can look at it as a raise, it's not just reestablishing the standard.
Why
I don't know.
Why were they changed 5 years ago?
It's actually more than 5 years ago. The county was going through some financial woes, and a lot of people were being considered to be laid off, salaries cut, and the then sitting board didn't seem too sensitive to what was going on around them. So actually, I was the person that led the battle to reduce their salaries so that they would feel the pain too. But the agreement was, once the budget was more stable, that they would revisit those salaries.
I don't particularly want to put them back to where they were.
That's been my feeling too. I'm not even sure what their obligation is in terms of the kind of effort, time, or, and that's my bad. I need to educate myself a little bit more about the commissioners.
I'm not sure the economy has rebounded, so
Well, I'm sure there'll be voices that share your sentiment. It should be an interesting discussion.
I just wanted to make sure there was, the board was aware. Cumberland Farms notified the town clerk's office that they're going to forego renewing their fuel storage license at 273 Plymouth Street. This is not where Cumberland Farms is now. This is at the old BR's location that they
That
own
property's
also.
been up for sale how long now? Almost 20 years?
maybe this is a good sign. Maybe this is a good sign that they've got some movement and they need to take it out.
And I'll revisit, I'm going to have to put this on the agenda for some point to do the full revocation.
Yes.
And they'll do that later this summer.
That's exciting,
And
actually.
I think you've reached 8 o'clock. We have a
Yes.
few other things, but we can do the 8 o'clock.
How are you?
Hi.
Another volunteer.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I miss Julie.
Yeah, she's in Abington.
I know, I found out. I just found that out the other day because I was reminiscing about how much I missed you.
So what's happened is that, make sure the board understands what's happening here. Ms. Letourneau had decided not to come back onto the Conservation Commission. She isn't, her term is up for reappointment. So in essence, we don't have a vacancy today, but we'll have a vacancy at the end of this month. So what you'll be doing is appointing Ed, if you choose to, for a term that starts on July 1st and then expires 3 years later, but not immediately. He's served as a associate member?
Yes, I was here for several months, maybe about a year. The board seems very nice, there's really no egos or anything. Seems like they want to get things done, respectful of them, the people come in front of them. And we try to be neighborly, we try to work with people, make sure they're not intruding on the wetlands, but also give them some leeway on 50 feet.
Depending on whose shoe you use.
Yeah. Well, it's all about being reasonable.
Yeah,
It's all about being
yeah,
reasonable.
exactly. That's one of the reasons my neighbor says, oh, check it out, see if you like it, and so I says, sure, why not volunteer, help the community a little, you know, so.
It's a wonderful thing. Volunteerism is getting to be a hard thing to find. these
Yeah,
days.
I've been in the town for about 12 years now. We helped out little and little.
Oh, he's a townie almost now,
Yeah, I think you have to reach 15 years to be.
right?
No more.
Well,
Oh, certainly
I've
applaud
been
you.
here longer than I'm still not a townie.
I'm fine. I entertain a motion
Yeah, thank
to
you
appoint.
again. Yeah, for
Mr.
wanting to
Lee?
volunteer and all that you've done over the last year.
Oh,
I
I
think
got a
it's,
couple of questions to ask.
well, I was, you know the question I
I'm gonna ask a question about it.
Oh, you are?
You been to town
Okay.
meeting?
I just ask if you're breathing.
You been to town meeting?
I've been to several of them, yes.
Yeah, I've seen you in the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah, once in Blue Money.
It's okay with me, who cares?
Yeah.
No, you guys have to touch your own finances.
We just ask that, you know, once you're appointed to the board, that you really make the attempt to go to all the town meetings.
All the meetings, yeah, that's something
Yeah.
Jerry mentioned, he says, you
Yeah.
can't just have the quorum, but often should be here all the time, and unless there's an unforeseen,
Yeah.
like a vacation or something.
Right.
Yeah. So I will make a motion that we appoint. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Troy.
Oh, man, now it's stepping
Go
over
right
each
on the
other.
horse once.
Gee,
This is what we get.
All right, listen, I need to get control of this meeting.
I know.
No, I feel very confident that you fulfill the position. You know, we understand what our conservation plans are. A lot of people really don't understand what the zoning bylaws are, and they do things.
Oh, yeah,
Sometimes-
a few times as an associate, you see people not coming in front of the board, and they just do their own thing, and I'll see you have to go off to that.
Yeah.
And they waste a lot of money and then have to revisit it.
Oh, yeah, sometimes they have to put it back as it is.
So I
will second your motion.
okay, well, I was just gonna say, I will make a motion to appoint Edward Lane III to a term to expire on June 30th, 2020 to the Conservation Commission.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds unanimous to
And
me.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for seeing me.
Thank you.
Please tell Julie how much I said.
I also want to take a moment to thank April Letourneau for her years of service
Yeah.
as well.
Yes.
It's not always the easiest job when you're telling people what they can and can't do on their property. So with all of that said, thank you, April.
Especially when,
Thank
Yeah, it was very well.
especially when they're
Yeah.
saying, the real estate guy never told me that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had that the last meeting.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
He never told me I couldn't do that.
She's a long-term volunteer. She actually served on the finance committee for a year or two.
Well, thank you very much for you and your
All right, thank you.
significant other.
Oh, yeah, I'll save it until you settle it.
Please, yeah. Thank you. Nice to see you, Ed.
Line item transfers, we have two this time. Water Department, 1,500 from wages general to wages superintendent, and then for the school department, 54,000 from school out of district vocational transportation to special needs tuition.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I'll pass those down. Speaking of 273 Plymouth Street, we've gotten some complaints. Obviously, the building has been abandoned now for more than a decade, and it continues to fall apart to the point that I guess it may end up being a health hazard. Certainly an attractive nuisance, and I'd like to send a letter to the current owners to indicate that they really need to shore it up or reduce the decay that's happening inside the building, because, for instance, where I know that we're getting some wonderful odors coming from the property at this point.
Yeah, the roof is leaking, which is potentially causing
That's
some...
a shame too, that was a prime piece of property.
I think whatever happens there, they'll have to tear it down
Well,
first, make up the septic system.
If they're canceling their permit, they'll put the tank, it has to be removed.
Well, I'm not even sure there was a fuel tank there to begin with.
I think it was.
It was?
It was a gas station.
Okay.
Yeah, but a long time ago, and I don't know if that didn't get taken out when they
Yes.
moved
Yeah,
across the
it's a
street.
gas station.
Well,
Yes.
what I will do is I'll check with the fire chief in the building,
Oh,
inspector, see
right.
if we've got any records.
Before your time.
I know it definitely was, because I actually talked to a realtor.
No, it was definitely a gas
about a
station.
year and a half
Yeah.
ago.
That's where Cumberland Farms originally was. But when they moved across the street, I seem to recall they actually removed the tanks.
Why would they keep paying for a permit every year?
Because it's valuable if
Yes.
somebody else wanted to open a gas station.
Oh,
But not that they were gonna let anybody open a gas station.
they're not. I thought that was part of the, I thought that it had some deed restriction.
Non-competitive
Yes.
agreements, yeah, restrictions.
And they were talking about land, like a different subject. That Dunkin' Donuts property, they're cutting down trees and stuff over there.
They're proceeding with their original, well, not their original plan, but their revised plan, which is a same footprint, but with a single story, not a two-story. So that's moving
They're gonna have
forward.
renters and
Dunkin' Donuts. It's to the left of
Yes. They want two
driveway
stories.
going to stop.
No, originally they wanted a
Yes,
two-story
yes,
building. And
yes.
that's been revised to a one-story.
Yes. Okay, I will make a motion that we send a letter to the,
Court owners.
Current owners of
of
property
273
273.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
In terms of other developments, I was approached by a real estate agent asking about the possibility of having a marijuana growing facility on River Street. Obviously, this is not just, plants in the ground, these are greenhouses, security and all that that are required. So the town had, when the town did zoning back 55 or so years ago, it did the classic, let's put all the industrial zones out on the edges of the town, which included River Street. The town's never rezoned that land. It remains industrial, and what we did was in fact specifically say that's where not just retail facilities, but growing facilities could go. So, not that we have any plans or any proposal or anything at all, but I just wanted the board to know that it's someone trying to sell us fleet gas services, basically that you get the municipal vehicles go gas up at specific locations.
But my vehicle's not a municipal vehicle.
No, it's not.
On the summer schedule, I just wanted to make sure that the board was going to be able to meet the normal dates, June 27th, July 11th, July 25th, August 8th, and August 22nd.
Charlie, you're asking me to look into my crystal ball to see
Yes,
some
I-
days that are available. I can't.
Look, I just booked a room for the Syracuse commencement in May of 18, so,
You did?
yeah. And, they will get whatever price they want to charge,
Yes,
because
you're
if you
very
don't want,
smart to
if
do
you
that.
don't want to pay it, somebody else will pay it.
So you were so smart to book it a year in advance, because they probably don't even know the commencement date yet.
Oh, they do.
Oh, no.
They know that years in
Okay.
advance.
'Cause- okay.
It's always Mother's Day.
I already booked my,
At this point,
Rochester,
I don't
New
have
York
any
drop.
objections to it, but
Yeah.
those dates, that doesn't say something might not come up, but at this point.
Oh, I'm
For
gonna put them on my calendar
2021,
now.
is that?
Yeah. I think these are the same dates we had anyway.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
just want
they
to
are.
make sure that the board.
Oh, yes.
What
Yeah.
we'll end up with is a 3-week gap after the last meeting in August to the first meeting in September, because again, we'll have August will have 5 Tuesdays, but.
Yep, I have them on,
Okay.
Is that everything on your agenda?
Except for executive session.
Well, the executive
Yeah.
session I mentioned, there's no,
yeah. Need to?
there's nothing.
Okay, perfect.
Pam, I don't know whether she has anything that she needs to bring before the board.
I don't know if I want to adjourn at 8:15, that's just,
Think
that's just wrong.
deeply, Pam, on what you're talking about. Think deeply. Well, I would move that we move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's it, we're wrapping it up.
Well, that was really
Thank you very much, everybody, and good night.
a nice, quick, less than an
Oh,
hour.
you made me look
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Here's the motion that we adjourn, and there's a second.
Third.
I need a second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. That concludes our business for tonight.
One quick question.
What was Mr.
No,
Clark's
I'm sorry.
first name?